Well, hello, YTPC. It's Dave coming to you from the paddock here in Southern Maryland. It's pretty early still. It's like 12:30. Yeah, it's 12:30 on Tuesday, International Pipe Smokers Day. So happy IPSD to everybody. What am I smoking today? Look at this. It's a Savinelli, Bing's favorite, and what I have in it is I'm going still on my codger tour. Got some Granger in here today. Being special, Granger. I gotta tell you, I'm enjoying my codger tour. So we've done Captain Black Dark, we've done Carter Hall, done Prince Albert, and now Granger, and I've got others coming. So anyway, I enjoy it. I didn't know what to expect because I tried half and half. I talked about that on some other videos, and it's just half and half wasn't my thing yet. So, and that's the one I wanted to be most because that's the legacy. I watched my dad smoke half and half in his Falcon. My dad smoked one tobacco from the time I was born until the time he died. So for like 40 years, I watched him smoke half and half only, and in one Falcon pipe. That's it. He never changed. So it was a little devastating when my mouth didn't like half and half. Now I still have it, and I will go back to it as part of this codger tour. But I have to say, Carter Hall, Prince Albert, and now Granger are far better. I enjoy them both. I mean, I enjoy them all. Carter Hall I've enjoyed the whole time. I'm just trying to walk through. I think there's Captain Black. I think there's 4 or 5 Captain Black blends in the cellar here, and I'll go through all of those as well. So far, I like them all better than half and half. I actually would put half and half at the tail end of this list right now. Pretty crazy. Thank you, Greg. Today is Grab Bag Tuesday here at the paddock. I don't have a big subject. Little tired after the 5. I got part 5 loaded into the playlist, and now you have one place. If you go to the Start Over playlist, every video is just listed right there. I make it easier for you to find them. So something that YouTube did to me that I want to get out there, it happened 3-4 days ago. I haven't been very good at responding to my comments, and let me tell you why. One, I was a little burned out after doing all the research and work for the 5 videos, but YouTube turned off my notifications, and I don't mean the little bell icon. I mean deep down inside of YouTube on my channel, under settings, under notifications, so I'm like 3 layers deep, there's a list of sliders, and the one for notify me of channel activity had been turned off. How crazy is that? There's no way I did that. I didn't even know that existed. I just realized I was getting lots and lots of comments, but I wasn't seeing any notifications of them. In fact, you guys are depressing me a little bit. I'm like, gosh, my last 3 videos have gotten no comments. That's insane. And I said, that just can't be. So I went into YouTube Studio, and there were 200, 300, 400 comments sitting in there unnotified. So I've since reset that setting. I now know to look for it, by the way, but I just say it here, one, because I've kind of done a shitty job on your comments, and that's how I say thank you to you, is to give you real feedback on comments I get. But the other is in case you notice something weird about your channel. So it's your channel, settings, notifications, and then review all the slide bars there. And the one you care about is notification of channel activity. There. Look at me, I'm a YouTube trainer now. So over the last few months, several of you asked about this, the RabbitAir. And I had a guy ask last night several questions about it. I said, there's been enough interest in it, I thought we'd talk about it. But the first thing we should talk about is its cost. I just looked on Amazon. They're $600. There's actually like a $900 or $1,000 for big rooms, which is probably what I should run in here, but I ain't paying that. This is a $600 unit on Amazon today. They basically come in white or black. The other thing we should talk about is the filter pack. So the filter pack is a 6-layer filter pack, and they cost $105. So the unit is $600, but the filter pack is another $105. Now, when you buy the new one, when you buy it, it comes with a filter pack, and they recommend you change the filter pack once a year. I'm coming up on it. I imagine something like April or May would be when I have this for a year. And then I have one in my Wyoming house. So this sits in the garage, right? This is a car warehouse, nowhere near my house. It's 5 miles from my house. So it's a little bit different. In Wyoming, it sits in my office on the 2nd floor inside the house. So it's the exact same unit as here. That one's black. This one's white. But other than that, the 2 units are identical. So guys, I think the first question I get a lot is it worth the money? And does it work? And so my answer is yes, it's worth the money. And yes, it works. And it works really well. But, and there's a big but to this, is what do you expect this thing to do? What this thing does for me, and I'm going to show you how it works. I just turn it on, leave it on. I never turn it off. I leave it on automatic. Auto is one of the settings, and it decides when it has to go to work. I'll show you how it does that in a minute. It never smells like smoke in here. Okay? I go home at night and I come back in and it doesn't smell it doesn't smell like cars. It doesn't smell like tobacco. It doesn't smell, there's no smell in here. So and this is a monster facility. I mean, this is 6 cars can fit in where I call a paddock, and I have 3 of these units. 18 cars can sit in here. I don't know how many do I have in here anymore. That's embarrassing. Sorry. Sounds like a rich dick, doesn't it? Anyway, I probably have about 12 cars sitting in here right now. And somehow it's filtered out that old, like I got a 70 Chevelle sitting 4 feet behind you, and they smell. They just have that old car smell. And it gets rid of that. I smoke in here every day with all the doors and windows closed because it's wintertime. And when I come in the next morning, there's no smell. I just went and counted. There's 15 cars in the 3 warehouse bays, by the way. So there. Oof. I'm going to leave this in because I'm trying to be real. So I also showed you that I have this giant candle. Here, let's just see this. I've got this big Yankee candle. It burns pretty much the whole time I'm in here. And then I have a couple of these diffusers. What's it called? Fraser fir. A couple of you guys asked me what this was. This stuff is the stuff that seems to repel rodents some way. I have no idea why. It's not sold for that. It doesn't claim it. But my wife said, holy shit, as soon as we put a couple of these up in the basement, we stopped having any mice. I mean, we used to catch a couple mice at night sometimes, especially during the shoulder season, spring and fall. But we haven't caught one since we put these out. So I put 2 on my desk, and I've got a couple spread around. And not a single mouse trap tripped. But what the hell am I talking about this for? So I do have some smell-o-vision stuff in here, right, that improves the smell. So it might not just be the rabbit. It might be that I've got a candle burning and I've got 2 of these things set here on the desk. I'm just trying to give you a full answer here because I don't want to screw up and have you put $600 into something and go, well, it didn't do exactly at all what you said it did. It matters how you set up this filter. It matters where you put it. And it matters if you give it some assistance. What the hell does that mean, right? I think what I'm going to do is turn you around and talk to you while you're looking at the unit. Okay, guys. So you're looking directly at it. This is the full front. It's about 18 inches by 18 inches. God, I should have turned the light on here. So down there is the odor sensor. That, if it detects odors or smoke in there, it turns the unit on. This power button. And then mode is where I tell it. You can see it's in auto right now. And you can see it thinks it needs to be running medium. But as smoke pours into there, it'll go up and it'll eventually turn turbo, and this thing changes. This light color changes. The camera's not showing it very well, but it went from white to pink, and it'll go to red. Okay, a lot of rambling. The thing I wanted to also tell you is this is where it sucks in your smoke, down here on the bottom. So if you stack a bunch of shit in front of it, you're not going to make it work very well. And I think I screwed up. I think it should be mounted up on the wall. You want that. You want the intake to be elevated a bit. You want it to be up here. Beanstalk 16. Go over and see how he mounted his. I think he did it right. It's higher and it's mounted on the wall. And he would tell you the same thing. He says it works amazingly well. It clears out his basement and it never smells like smoke. The other thing I want to show you is the air exits here on top. Okay, so let's do it again. So there's the front, the top, and that's where it exits. So that's where you actually feel it blowing the air out. So intake, sensor, outtake. I think it's an amazing product. So now you know how it works. And now you know how I would recommend you mount it. And now I want to talk for a minute about how can you help it. You can help it by having a fan on this side, some way of blowing the smoke past you and blowing that smoke towards your unit. I've got a heater down here. So that heater is blowing air pretty much straight at me. And it kind of lets the smoke blow over that way. You can see it a little bit. It's hard to see. I don't have Granger's not a big pluming smoking brand, but you can kind of see it blowing across me and over my right shoulder towards the unit. The unit processes, the RabbitAir processes what is thrown at it really, really well. But I don't think it's going to reach out 10, 15 feet. If your smoke is just setting still, it takes a while for it to drift over and get sucked into the machine. So that's what I mean about, depending on how quick and how perfect you want the response to be, you might want to set some things up that, help the smoke get conveyed to the lower end of that box. All right, the last piece of this advertisement will be to be careful what you expect of any system you set up in your house. I think we have to be realistic about what it can and can't do. I don't smoke inside my house in Maryland. My wife is there a lot. If she's home, I certainly don't. I've tried it a few times when she wasn't home, just to test when she walked back in. Because I had this in my office at home for a while, and I had fans blowing it. And I had another fan. I had one of those two fan window units, kind of where you close the window on it and it sucks or blows that smoke out the window. And the combination of the candle, the fan blowing it across me, the exhaust fan in the window, and that worked really well. I don't know if she would be home, if it would be effective enough she wouldn't smell it at all. So I want to be honest with you about, how effective this is pretty damn effective. And for me, I come back in the next day and it doesn't smell at all. Now, if someone were to walk in right now while I'm smoking this pipe, would they go, "Hey, are you smoking something?" I don't know. I can't tell. I haven't done that test yet. Where you come into this is, what are you trying to accomplish? Like Dave over there at Central Cal Piper, he tries to smoke in the house and hopefully get it out of there before his wife gets home. This might help you do that. If you're trying to smoke in your office or in your attic or whatever, or in your man cave in your basement, and have no one ever know what in the house that you're smoking, I'm not sure there's a system on the planet that can do that. So I want to be careful. It's a great unit. I recommend it for the money. It's the best filter I've seen. It works great in my environment. I can't smell anything when I walk in here. Other people can't. Will it keep your house marriage friendly if you're smoking in the house while you're smoking? I just don't know. If you want to kind of set up that blowing fan, exhaust fan, filter fan, candle, you might make it work. Hopefully your wife's on board and trying to work with you. If you're trying to fool her, you never listen to this video. I didn't have any part of that, right? So anyway, it's worth the money. It works. It clears a space much larger than I think it's designed to. I'm completely happy with it. I would buy it again. Will it help you fool your wife that you're lying, that you're smoking in the house? Oof, I don't want to go there. But if she's part of it and she's working with you and said, yeah, put a fan over here and blow your smoke into the unit and have an exhaust fan that also helps take it out. What comes out of that filter doesn't need to be blown out a window. So the question is, can you get all of this in the bottom of that? Or is there going to be some kind of out here somewhere? Is there some that's going to drift under the door of your office? That's what happened to me at mine, right? Even with the fans and everything, I got 90% of it to the filter or out the window. But enough trickled through. We had Dutch doors on my office. It trickled through the cracks around the door and all that, that there was times you could still smell it outside my office. Plus, our wives have, the nose of a crazy person, right? I mean, there's probably no way you can smoke in your house and not have her smell it. Anyway, I hope that helps. Ask me more questions. What did I not tell you? What I did not answer? But I just wanted to do this right and do it on video because enough of you have asked, rather than reply one guy, that I do a part of my video. All right, story time. Since we're talking about the start over plan and I told you that I use it and I do it, I'm going to take you back to September of 1994. I was 30 years old and I was considering starting my company, which became DHA Group. That's what we sold. The Schwarzkopf team, General Schwarzkopf team, had offered me an opportunity to come to work directly for them in the Army. And they said, hey, we can get you a purchase order, but we don't want your whole company. We really just want you. Would you be willing to start your own company? I was like, hell yeah, man, that's a dream of mine. Well, they said, we'll get the contractual paperwork together and you get at the time I started a subchapter S Corp. Don't do that. Use an LLC. So I went and got my paperwork done and started talking to them as clients. They started getting their contract paperwork done. I said, holy crap, I got to talk to my current employer. I work for one of the big 8 accounting firms, KPMG, Pete Marwick. I had about a $4 million a year project with them. I had about 22 guys that worked for me at the time. And I thought, I do not want to leave these guys in the lurch. I don't want to hurt my guys. I don't want to hurt my client. I don't want to hurt the firm. So I went and talked to the partner who was my boss. I said, hey, I've been offered an opportunity to start my own firm. I am super interested in it, but I want in no way to harm the operation here. I would like to discuss a ramp off and maybe 2 months. So here's what I'm thinking: 2 weeks full time as if nothing has happened, 2 weeks half time, then 2 weeks of quarter time, and then 2 weeks I'll phone and email support anything you need. That gives you 2 months to to get ready to find the replacement and do the turnover. We'll do a slow slide out with the team. We'll do a slide out with the client. We'll make sure no one gets hurt. And my partner leaned forward and said, hey, how about you leave today? It's now your last day. We're firing you. I was like, holy crap. So I drove home that day unemployed. I'm going to talk about an uncomfortable drive home. I'm going to have to tell my wife that this whole thing I'm talking about starting my own company and all that, my safety net got pulled, and I had no job, none. I was unemployed driving home that day. That's a pucker factor. So the old guy part of the story involves a fax machine. If you're under 40, you probably don't even know what that is. We used to send each other documents over the phone lines by putting it in a fax machine and sending it across the phone lines to another fax machine. Sort of like photocopying, but have the copy come over in somebody else's copier. So when I got home that night, I had to sit down with Anne Marie and explain to her that I wouldn't be going to work tomorrow because I had been let go because of my discussion with them about starting my own company. To say that was an uncomfortable dinner was an understatement, because throughout this whole conversation I've been having with her for the prior few weeks, her only input was, don't fuck it up and lose the house. That was it. She couldn't have cared less. She just wanted the income to stay stable and the house payment to get made. That was it. Well, during dinner, we heard the fax machine. I don't know, they sound horrible when they connect. We heard the fax machine get dialed up, ring, answer, go through that screeching connection that they used to make. And we heard it printing. So I got up from the table and I went over, and it was the old kind, that thermal paper that used to curl up when the fax machine would cut it. It was long, these rolls of thermal paper, and then the fax machine would cut it, and it would fall on the floor and curl up. Well, about 5 or 6 pages came through, and I unrolled them up and put them up, and it was the purchase order from the Army. Holy shit. I went to work the next morning for the Army as my own company. So God loves me, and he's got a sense of humor. That's for sure. So there's my startup story. Went home unemployed. The purchase order that I've been working for the last couple of weeks actually came through that night, and the next morning I went to work as my own company. So no gap, 0 gap, unbelievable. So there's my story. That purchase order gave me an hourly rate and 6 months of funding. So I had a 6-month runway that so I kind of had to jump into the fog bank, but I had a 6-month runway before the fog bank made it so I couldn't see. And in that 6 months, the FBI came and found me. I think I've told that origin story. So that's how I get started. I went to work, I think it was September 12th, 1994 for the Department of the Army, working for Schwarzkopf. And 6 months later, I was asked to come to the FBI headquarters and work on a kind of a national emergency that they were having. So, and then 25 years inside that building. So that's a fun little start to my origin story. We can tell more stories later. All right, guys, last piece of the day. I've done nothing to the Maryland Meerschaum yet. I got some two-stage epoxy, and a lot of you kind of were freaked out. Said, "Hey, don't use epoxy, man. When you smoke it, it'll heat up and turn it into a poison." And what's funny is I highlighted this for you. See what it says? Let's see. Can I get it to read? Warning: harmful if swallowed, harmful by skin, and then look at that, respiratory irritant. I'm pretty sure that means don't put this in a pipe and smoke it. So I don't know what I'm going to do right now. Some of you said, hey, grind up some chalk and mix it with egg white. Some of you said, go find some pipe mud. So some of you said, hey, just make it a museum piece, clean it, and put it up on the shelf. All these are valid ideas. Don't know what I'm going to do. I've got a new Meerschaum on order. It's actually shipped, I believe, so it'll be here in another couple days. But I've got a bunch of pipes, so it's kind of fun to go through them. I should have done a Cobb Tuesday. There's my Meerschaum, my Missouri Meerschaum. And then you guys saw the Aeron yesterday, and today is Bing's favorite. So there's plenty to go. I mean, I've probably got another 20 or 30 pipes. I really need to take a tour of Corvette Jim's. I bought about 7 or 8 of his pipes. I should take a week and tour his pipes. So plenty of options. And it will break the link. It's a little bit like a loss of a family member, right? But we'll take a break from the Maryland Meerschaum, and we'll have to decide what to do. And maybe we won't become so singularly pipe focused, huh? Guys, that's it. I'm going to sew this all together and shut up and get this video loaded. Happy IPSD to everybody, and we will talk tomorrow. Bye, everybody.